Tomorrow is Youth Day in South Africa, commemorating the start of the Soweto riots of 1976. As a theme today, we're focusing on issues facing the youth across the continent. In our Nairobi studio, we're joined by Juma Mwatata, CEO of the Youth Enterprise Development Fund, for more than difficulties faced by our youth in finding employment in the already flooded job market. The fund was established in 2006 by President Kibaki with an initial funding of 1 billion shillings. What has happened from then to date?
Thank you, Larry. The Youth Enterprise Fund is a flagship project of the Vision 2030. It was basically meant to avail credit to the young entrepreneurs, and to date we have been able to disburse in excess of 6 billion Kenya shillings, which is really both through the constituency loans and through the financial partners that we have, about 37 of them.
Just touch on those very quickly for our viewers who are not familiar with how exactly this fund is disbursed to the youth and what it is intended for them to do with it.
Yes, the fund basically is supposed to develop entrepreneurs and access or avail credit to them through very highly subsidized rates of interest. And we do this through two main channels. One, we partner with financial institutions who are basically banks and microfinance institutions and SACCOs. We give them money in form of loans for them to on-lend to young people at 8% rate of interest. And then we have the other channel, which is basically directly through the fund structures. And we do this through allocating certain amounts of money to various constituencies across the country. And through that, then we have also, we have our own structures that we disburse the funds through to the young people in groups or as individuals.
All right.
Mainly to do business, yes.
For comparison's sake, you're at 8%,
yes.
And the market interest rates right now in Kenya around about 20%, just for a proper comparison.
Yes.
But
yes.
there are still problems in access of financing for the youth who are trying to start businesses. Nobody's going to trust a kid, quote unquote, out of Nairobi University, maybe a dropout, with 100,000, a million shillings to start a business which they don't know if it will succeed or fail.
Yes. Basically, indeed there are problems because starting a business is not easy. First of all is the issue of identifying the business opportunity for a young person to invest in. So this young person may be either from university or from primary or whichever level. Basically, is supposed to be taken through basic skills, basic business management skills, and also just to help this person to understand or to figure out what business they'll be able to do that will generate income enough to repay the loans and also to grow their business. Of course, we have, for startup businesses where many banks will not want to finance, these have a higher rate of failure. However, we look at the risk involved and then we lend the money dependent on the nature of the business and the risk involved.
And speaking
in
about
that business.
Risk, what is the rate of default right now?
Currently, we have classified our portfolios into three categories. We have the financial institutions that are doing between 85 to about 95%. And then the constituency loan component, we basically have doing between 60 to 70% rate of recoveries.
How much money more do you need
Larry,
to be able to give everybody or to provide the funding for everybody who applies for it? At least the ones that qualify anyway.
That's a difficult question because, you know, not every young person really will want to become an entrepreneur. We have about 14 million young people, but out of this, if we can be able to reach to at least even between 1 to 2 million, we feel that we will have been able to address a good number that can be able to create an impact. However, looking at the funding aspect, if we were to go by our strategic planning that we began in 2008 to 2011, we should by now have between 5 to about 10 billion Kenya shillings.
All right.
However, we only have about 3.8 billion Kenya shillings.
I must address also
yes.
the elephant in the room, which is this allegations about financial impropriety and corruption within the fund, in which means the money from the government meant for businesses for the youth are being used in another way. What is the latest in that?
Thank you, Larry. On that issue, basically I need to clarify for everybody to understand that the Youth Enterprise Development Fund did carry out an audit as part of its normal audit exercises annually. And this particular one was as a result of certain allegations that were being made. And so we conducted an investigation. And arising from this, there were certain areas that had some issues. And this was mainly in the area of conducting of field activities. But I will also want to clarify that it is not money meant for loans. It is basically money meant for the day-to-day running of the affairs of the fund. So as a result of those issues, we took action. We suspended managers and staff so that we can be able to conduct detailed investigations to exactly ascertain, if any, instances that will require action to be taken on these staff and managers of the fund.
Sure. Finish us off with what exactly are the projections for the fund, what do you intend to do, and if there are any successes so far?
The initiatives of the fund. Basically, as you know, the fund is a Vision 2030 flagship project, which really is the blueprint of Kenya in terms of development looking forward. We as a fund, of course, are looking at the areas, sectors that will be able to drive or to create more opportunities for young people. And we have looked at issues of ICT, we have looked at issues of agriculture, and we are investing heavily designing products to be able to allow and assist young people to venture in agriculture. For example, we are now rolling out greenhouses for young people who want to do greenhouse farming. We are also developing at a very advanced stage the credit guarantee scheme, which is part of Vision 2030, to be able to unlock credit from private sector through a mechanism of sharing losses with financial partners, so that we not only focus on collateral, but we focus on viability of businesses to be able to lend to these young people across the country.
We'll leave it there. Asante sana, Juma Mwatata, CEO of the Youth Fund, with us in Nairobi. We appreciate your time.